The one thing that I struggle with the most is to know if I had to be selfish in order to love myself. And I have came to the conclusion for now that I have, yes, I have to be indeed I have to be selfish to love myself. And this is something that really scared me in the beginning because I was thinking, wow, the word selfish is a very colorful word, and it's a very I would say tainted word in the fact, simply in the fact that it kind of has this negative connotation. And I've been seeing a lot of content made about being selfish and loving yourself and etc etc, but it was always rooted in some kind of like weird egotistical self-centeredness. But inevitably I feel like every content that is based around self is always going to be self-centered, like obviously. But what I'm trying to say is that when you are being a person that really prioritizes other people's feelings, other people's emotions, especially like in my own experience, I'm the firstborn of a family of 4 children. So I've had to really put other people's feelings before mine for a long time, and I still do today. Not that this is something that I despise. I think it's very important to know how to care for others, and how to put other people in a very good position in your mind, and to have consideration for others. This is how you live with other people in society. Otherwise, just go in a cave and like hide yourself for a long time, you know? But at the same time, I think that the day that I woke up at the hospital, tubed in, from a very horrible nightmare, and when I say nightmare, I hope that there are going to be some people who are going to understand what type of nightmare I'm talking about. So, it's a word that I don't think I can express openly on the internet, but voilà. Woke up from this nightmare in the hospital, alive, made it alive. That is the point in time that I've realized that something was wrong. I mean, obviously, girl, please. And I needed to take action. And I feel like also for myself and for my purposes, my many purposes in this life, because in this lifetime I don't have only one purpose. I have many dreams and goals and aspirations that I really want to get to. And in order for me to do that, I felt like at some point I had to really distance myself from my relationship with how I place other people's needs first. And it how it kind of just burned me out. And I feel like when you are, especially like, okay, but if there's like any black girlies watching this, when you are the firstborn of like a African family, and you and your parents are two very different generations, when both of your parents are already from different generations, it creates drama. And then they have children who are a completely different generation than they are, us being Gen Z, them being like older generations. And you have all of these responsibilities being thrown at you. You have to be, I wouldn't say parentified, but it also falls into the category of parentification of children, because I know that a lot of women, a lot of young girls are being parentified very early on. And I'm talking about girls because I feel like this happens more often with girls. I mean, I've heard about it more often for girls than for boys, but I'm sure that there are boys out there who are also being parentified very young, which is not a good thing. And I feel like having had this role for a long time of like taking care um for my siblings, it was something very, very open eyeing, because I was trying to care for other while all the while trying to care for myself. And at some point it burns you. It burns you very deep, very fast, because even though they were not the reason why I have tried to do this nightmare, there are still other things like relationship ending very poorly that are were just making me spiral. Any single You could have thrown any single thing at me at that time and I would have spiraled. I would have thought that I was thinking at this time that, oh, if my relationship fails, if I fall off with a friend, or if I have this, if I have that, it's because I was not able to care for that person, just because my whole life I've been told that I had to take care of. I had to be the carrier of everything. And it is very important to me to say that I see selfishness as selflessness. This is going to be so crazy, but in order for you to be fully free, I think that you should see being selfish as a form of being selfish is also being selfless. Let me explain myself. When you're selfish, it all comes down to the fact of you deciding to only care about yourself and only put yourself first and only put your needs first at the expense of other people's needs, for example. And for me, when I take this selfishness into my goals, my dreams, my aspirations, I see it as being selfless, because the very fact that I'm so intensely affected by the people that I have around me, and the fact that I have to care for them, is something that makes me altruistic. It makes me want to care for others. It doesn't make me like, it's something very hard for me to not think about others. But putting that aside and deciding to put myself first is something that I'm doing that is very selfless. It's like, you have to be I have to be selfish in order for me to attain my goals. I have to think about myself sometimes, and I have to put everybody else aside. But it also requires me to be very selfless in terms of, I cannot be lazy in my mind and just stay in the confines of like what I've known for my whole life, which is, oh, to care about how people are going to perceive me, for example, when I make my little videos, to care about how people are going to think of me when I wear certain clothes, for example, when I want to be pretty, when I want to talk a certain way, what makes me happy that doesn't make them happy. For example, the fact that I have to be the example for my siblings, because if I do a certain thing, if I talk a certain way, if I dress a certain way, they're gonna do the same. And this is something that I've been told my whole life, for example. And for me, when I say that being selfish is being selfless, is because if I am not selfish enough to do the stuff that I love, and to be the person that I love, and to be simply happy for myself and about myself, to enjoy myself in this world, in this lifetime, then it is a sacrifice of my own future. It is a sacrifice of my own beliefs. It is a sacrifice of the very amazing things that I can bring in this world. It's a sacrifice to how many people I can help, even just with my videos, if there is anybody that is going to be helped by that, all of the amazing things that I can create just by being myself and just by being authentically free are the things. If I stop doing that, if I don't do it, if I just don't do it, if I just don't think of those, and if I just don't think about myself, and if I'm not selfish, then I'm literally sacrificing. I'm literally sacrificing myself. I'm not just sacrificing, like when I'm being selfish, okay, I'm sacrificing a little part of like other people's perspectives and other people judgment and other people um as expectations of me. But by doing so, I put myself in this little box that I will never get out of if I don't just wake up and like do something. And this is why I was saying that in order to attain my goals, my dreams, in order to attain your goals, your dreams, you have to be selfish. You have to be selfish. You have to be so unbothered, by how you're going to be perceived. It's insane. You have to be so unbothered by how people view you, because we're all gonna die, okay? And this sentence, we're all gonna die, is to take at a very certain, grain of salt, because it's not just because of the sentence that you can do whatever and be violent with, don't do crazy shit, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just being authentically yourself, and because this authentic self does not hurt anyone. Literally does not hurt anyone. But restraining it hurts you. And that is not okay. That is not okay. This is not why we were here for. So this is why I'm saying that